Um, feels like the Earth is not. It's big, but it's small. Especially with planes. Uh, but then I don't know. Do you think there are other lands that are not discovered still? Do you think there are continents that are just we don't fucking know?
Maybe. I don't know.
That'd be kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie. That would be pretty cool. I would like that. I got a question. If anyone's listening.
People are listening. Let's hear it.
So shit. I think
Losing us, man.
Okay. Well,
Maybe you were right.
Yeah. Sorry. So if the Earth is flat, How come so many people think it's not flat?
A lot of people believe a lot of stuff that's not true.
I mean, yeah, but each of them believe the stuff that's not true for their own reasons. What do you think these reasons are?
For the globe itself?
Because everybody was taught the globe.
Yeah, but why? Like people that taught them, they were convinced themselves, or it was just a big fucking lie.
Well, I'll sum up my viewpoint by saying malicious intent.
Okay.
So the teacher hasn't got malicious intent with that class about explaining the heliocentric model. It's just on the syllabus and they teach it because they got taught it. Because, like was pointed out earlier, we all get taught pretty much the same type of thing. But there's no malicious intent. I'm just repeating this.
Not everybody has the malicious intent. I believe the fact of creating the falsehood or the lie itself originally
but then
had
yes.
malicious intent.
Like those who have the intent to deceive, then yeah, those people. Yeah, whoever they are.
Okay, can I ask you, like, who do you think created that lie and when? Or what group of people?
Yeah, you can't just jump straight to the bottom of the rabbit hole. You kind of got to work your way down.
Yeah.
Is there a rite of passage for me to have an answer to that question? Do I have to buy in the flat Earth enough?
No, you need to make sure they lied first.
It's just telling you to start at the beginning of the rabbit hole before you start running down it.
Yeah, you won't understand the answer.
Okay.
So some answers are just so ridiculous until you actually start like.
I'm at the beginning of the rabbit hole. Okay, I'm fucking Alice, in front of the door to Wonderland, and one of you needs to lead me down all the way down the rabbit hole. I'll shut up for an hour.
No, that's not how the story works. Okay, it is not
How does
the
it
white
work?
rabbit. The white rabbit is your curiosity.
Yeah.
You lead yourself down the rabbit hole.
Okay, that's interesting.
What do you want to know, oh seeker? Do you seek the truth?
I have asked
secrets
questions.
of the universe.
I have asked questions. I asked, how big do you think the flat Earth was? I've asked, do you think there are continents? I've asked many questions already. I haven't gotten any answer. I've only gotten, I don't know. So you're not very good at leading me down the rabbit hole, honestly.
But sorry. We're also trying to point out to you that just because we don't know anything doesn't stop the hunt for truth. We just have to understand there are things that we can't know. So instead of spending a long time talking about fucking speculations of bullshit that we can't prove, we just point out to you that we don't know. We can just speculate.
I mean, fair enough, but to be fair to myself as well, I would say I don't know what you don't know. I'm asking questions in the dark, and I don't know what you react to. I don't know which entry point you want me to get in this rabbit hole of yours. So I'm fishing, and I'm not.
Told you where to start. We've told you the measurements. So we've told you to
start with the measurement.
We've tried to help you figure out the evidence to see if the crime has been committed. We've been trying to show you that evidence. You're denying the crime. But apart from that, we've now gone to motivation of the crime. You're accepting, okay, the crime's taken place, but why? What's the motivation, for example?
Who would do such a thing?
I mean, fine, but like, how do I begin with this search for the why?
Okay. So listen to the question. Why are they lying? It's like, who are they?
Mm-hmm.
And we've got to break that question down. You're asking a complex question. The moment we have to look at who they are. Now, we just passed out that it's not really the teachers, for example, or the people repeating fiction, for example. They've got no malice within their intent. So, not them. Now we have to keep going further down the rabbit hole. Do you understand?
Well, I mean, fine, okay, but where do I go after the teachers? I go to the politicians? I go to the billionaires?
Slow down. So, outside of being taught information, right?
Yes, so that is, just quickly, yes, that is how the levels will go. But do you understand how many it goes above that? You know, it's like, sorry, Jedi, go ahead.
No, you're fine. You're expressing the point. It's going to be lots of levels, but we're now going to be talking about who controls the information, who sets things like syllabuses in schools or universities, who funds projects and what projects are gone for. So this is where you start when you start investigating these things. So you're going to end up deeper back in history. Common phrase that is said that kings and priests have always ruled the world. Things like information, maps, for example, and knowledge have always been hidden from the masses of the people. And these are information strategic. Right? It's controlled by those who want to control them. So we end up starting with priests and kings, people who travel places and spend money when they want to explore known lands and exploit the resources from the people, for example. So religion and authority. You break the authority down into different bits. Mm-hmm. It's not the government. You've got different branches of government. You've got people behind the government. We've got the civil service in England, and this massive non-political entity behind the government.
Well, okay. Someone else pointed to the fact that the direction it would go was the greater and greater, let's say, earthly authorities, like politicians and then billionaires and whatever. How far does it go? You know, I'm asking the question, but it sounds like what you're all saying, is that I must first go out in the world for myself and do the experiments myself and or search for myself of who is responsible, and I have to bring that back to you as a sort of informational offering. And then
No,
when I've done enough,
no,
you'll
that's
be
not true.
like, okay, now we can disclose to him the true
No,
enemies.
that's not true. One, what we're trying to point out to you is for every single stage or further down the rabbit hole that you go, it gets darker and darker. It gets blurrier and blurrier. Right? You can't point at people or isolate individuals. Right? So it gets harder the further down the rabbit hole that you get because it gets darker. We're not telling you to go and find this information and bring it back before we give you any knowledge. We're trying to tell you that we're not going to be giving you knowledge. We're going to be giving you speculation and the critical thinking and tools to come to these reasonable speculations based upon the crime that's been committed. The only thing that we're
Yes.
asking you to do should be the thing that you're asking yourself. To be convinced of anything, you should convince yourself. So when we say go out and do the experiment, that's probably the only way that you can convince yourself.
That's fair, kind of. Yeah, because I've been here before, right? Like for a few hours, I've talked to some of you, and out of all the rooms in this political discourse, you guys probably are the nicest, to be honest. Everybody else is a bit meaner. But but the conversations I've had were like I was accused of having a worldview that makes me not know anything ever, not be certain of anything ever, as opposed to supposedly you guys who are certain of some things, the Earth is flat being one of them, and you're also certain about your methodologies. You're also certain about your philosophical grounding a lot of the time. Like it's about true science and true experimentation, and you have to work it out for yourself. And a lot of the time, the Bible is involved somewhere along the line where it says, "Oh, seek with your own mind," or whatever. Seek the truth with your own mind, my child. And I mean, fair enough, right? But yeah, fair enough. But if that's your message, why not say that? You know? No, yes. I don't know. No answer. That's it. No rabbit hole leading, no white rabbit. I've accepted the earth is flat and that measurement by myself or whatever was the way to go, and that's it. It's over.
Hey, bro, how do you pronounce your name? Afun
Afunakwa.
Nakwa. Okay,
Afunakwa.
I'm just gonna call you Fun. Is that cool?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. My question to you is that have you checked out the information I sent you? I sent you.
You
2
send
links.
me. You send me. Is that you? Send me a DM or something?
Yes, sir. With the flat Earth information.
Yeah, I've seen that. I haven't read it yet, but I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen the NASA thing, hoax collection, whatever.
Cool.
And
yeah, awesome, man.
Yeah, I'll watch it. I haven't watched it yet.
Yep, all good. I just want to make sure you check it out, or you get the the links that I send you. So
yeah. But I don't go on Discord to text, to be honest. I go on Discord to talk. But fair enough.
Oh yeah, I mean, you came in, you were curious about it, you talked to us like for hours. It seems like you don't get the point, or you don't understand what flat Earth is, And I think that it's my job at least to share, the real flat Earth information with you, so you can check it out on your own, and you come to your own conclusion. And that's why we're here.
I mean, yeah, but you guys are pretty complicated, to be honest, to understand. Like, I'm not saying it doesn't make sense, but you'll come at it with, like, sometimes very different arguments, and now I discover that there are entities, like the larger point that it seems to achieve flat Earth is to point to the enemies that are propagating this lie and why they are doing it.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
I mean, that's what people made it sound like to me just now, just before. But
you were asking question, right? Like, oh, who are these people? Why would they lie and stuff like that? I would say we don't know. That's the thing, and we don't know their motive. It's very hard trying to figure out why people lie, because people lie all the time, right? And the real question is this: why would they even tell us the truth, right?
So, why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? They'd make more money if they tell you the truth.
Do you know how much NASA make a day, my friend?
They could make more if the Earth was flat. If the Earth was flat, that means more people in the community like yourself and everybody, because you don't have to fly very high now. You don't care about.
So what are you talking about, dude?
Again, if you would listen, instead of trying to think.
The fuck are you talking about? Shut up.
Yeah.
Like a true globe zealot. That's what Robert is.
But what was his point? I didn't understand even. Like,
sorry, he's just coming in because he hasn't spoken for a good while now, and every so often he has to come in and preach to everybody about his globe. Just ignore him. Carry on with your conversation.
So he's not a flat earther? Is that it?
Well, Robert, no, he just comes in and preaches about his belief. He can't hear us speak normally and rationally. He has to jump in and preach his fucking religion to us.
Okay, fine. Well, I'm still left wondering. Like, okay, fine, you guys don't know or something, but isn't there any speculation, like the why and the who? Like, who did it and for what reason? That's where my mind goes already immediately. Kind of.
Yeah, it's not unrational when you see this type of thing. You can compare it to some kind of like these people that are performing a psychological operation upon me. They've told me this truth that I've believed all of my life, but that wasn't the truth of There's actually fucking something else. What is that possible motivation for lying to me about the truth of the environment I live in? Well, they get to tell you how it was created. They get to tell you where you are, how you got here, where you're going, your purpose in all of this. Remember, you're an insignificant speck. You're lucky enough to have been created, some kind of interstellar one-night stand that, fucking hell, if it wasn't for everything, it probably wouldn't have happened in the first place. So you're lucky that you're here, but it doesn't mean anything anyway. When you die, you die. So they get to tell you that.
So you're saying that part of the lie is to pretend like we are merely material specks of dust, and that there's something greater about a human being, and that's part of the lie, that we're not told how great we are or something.
We're just chatting amongst ourselves and trying to walk along some kind of logical framework to why this deception has taken place. What have they done? Well, they've told us this, that, and the other. One of the things that they've told us is how everything was created, matter springing into existence and then creating sentient life, consciousness, and information, apparently.
And you don't believe that?
No, people... Go on.
Sorry.
So, what do you believe about God? Is that it? Is that the answer?
Well, I'll finish by this because I know my friend wants to jump in. So what I'm pointing at is the ontological primitive. It's a dichotomy. Two choices when you ask the question, well, how the fuck did this all get here then? On one hand, if you think the Earth is a spinning ball, for example, you're told, well, it kind of sprang into existence for no apparent reason one fucking day. Nothing became everything. Right? That's one hand. Nature creates itself spontaneously. On the other hand, we understand that intelligence creates consciousness. Right? That is the thing that can create things. If you want a building, you're going to need a builder. If you want a watch, you want a watchmaker. Painting, painter. Creation, creator. Intelligence creates, right? So you've got two choices when you're answering this question. How did everything get here? Intelligence, or it just did?
I mean, obviously,
we're left with options, right?
Intelligence.
But especially, sorry, I'm just going to quickly go ahead, right? But when people have an ideology and then those people are granted power or authority in some form, right? They want to push that ideology onto everyone else. They think everybody else should also have this ideology and adopt it as being true, right? And then that escalates or snowballs, right? And then once you convince, an amount of people, then they also go out and do that same thing, and it keeps spreading and spreading and spreading, and that's regardless of what the information that they're spreading is true or not, right? Or whether they can prove it.
I mean, it's yes, to some extent, it can be achieved that a lie spreads and spreads and spreads, but don't you think there's a distinction between a lie and the truth that eventually makes the lie less sustainable than the actual truth over time, and therefore its spread is
it starts breaking down, right? It reaches its maximum point of influence, and then starts breaking down, and all the faults and the cracks become bigger. And we're getting our fingers in the cracks. We're kicking the cracks. We're showing the world that it has cracks. And it's crumbling, falling down.
So you guys are one of the ones who rebel against the Matrix, the lie, the flat earth fly, right? The globe earth fly, sorry. Is that it?
Why not?
I mean, yeah, sure. But do you think you're the only one doing that, or do you think there's like Like I was in other chats and people were preaching about God in other chats here. Do you think they're also showing the cracks of society, whatever, or is it just
this is about empirical reality, not mysticism.
Okay, so okay. So
do you think water is flat and level at the surface, or do you think it's curving around a sphere, a globe?
I mean, I think it's curving around, but you don't, right?
Well, what if I told you that that's a religion?
I mean, yeah.
That is a belief that you have, right? And what you are doing is that you are rebelling against your senses and what they see and know. You're rebelling against reality and the way things are, with how you perceive it.
Mm-hmm.
You see, so we're trying to show you this is how reality really is, right? And you're trying to tell us how you imagine it to be, how you perceive it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Water is flat and level at the surface. It's how we make sure things are level and flat. So if you think it's curving, then you might be in a religion. It might be a belief system that you're in. It might be a cult or something, and you didn't realize it, eh?
I mean,
it is.
Yeah, fine, but like, look, you guys don't know anything about my ideology, to be honest.
No, he's not pointing that out. So the cult, the belief in heliocentrism. I don't really care about your own personal ideology, but this idea that the sun is at the center. Heliocentrism, that's a religious idea, sun worship. It traces back to Samaria, Babylon. Came through the Roman Catholic Church. This is why we have a sphere.
Yeah, I mean, okay, fine. But let me tell you my point of view.
You asked earlier why would they lie. I'm trying to give you a little bit more into the lie that they told when they told it.
Mm-hmm.
So Huygens and Copernicus and Kepler and all of these famous astronomers from history that when looking at things made models and stuff. And the majority were either funded by the Vatican or through other mediaries funded by the Vatican, or they got hold of the work later after they died. Now, all of this information was because the Roman Catholic Church wanted to understand the moon's path and its cycles and predict things like when Easter was and new moon and all of this type of stuff, Passover. So they wanted a nice way to predict when it was going to be. That's where the globe Earth comes in, which we talk about because we talk about celestial navigation a lot, because like I was pointing out earlier, kings and priests have always kept the knowledge. Usually they like to keep maps. The other thing I didn't point out, that was the stars, astronomy, looking upwards and what you can divine by that. So by looking upwards and measuring from a flat plane, they gave you a conceptual idea, which was a terrestrial sphere to explain things like moon phases, to explain things like when the moon will be. That was a Roman Catholic idea. They then went around because they had educational institutions and taught this within their educational institutions for the people that they let come to their educational institutions. You know, the higher ups, the people just below the kings and priests, all associated toffs and high rollers, people with all of the money. You want to be educated into the new knowing of things? Well, we've got the education of the new knowing of things, and they educate you in the new knowing of things. And you go around and educate other people in the way that we learned people are knowing things. It's come straight out of the king and out of the priest and out of the pope. It comes from the Vatican, right? Must be true.
Right. So the Vatican is an evil entity then, to you?
We don't have to invoke evil just now, but I'm just trying to give you a bit of a history lesson. There are other things that have come out of the Vatican, for example. So a lot of astronomers have like Roman Catholic heritage. have always been looking up at the stars and stuff, right? So this is something else. So Monsignor Lamette, 1929, I believe, came up with the creation narrative of the Big Bang Theory, where everything exploded into existence. This Vatican priest, supposed to be a Roman Catholic Christian, came up with a new idea about the evolution of the world, juxtaposed to what God said in his own Bible. So you tell me.
You know what's funny about this priest? Do you know where he was from? He was from Belgium. Do you know where I'm from?
Belgium.
Yeah, Belgium, exactly.
Yeah,
so I'm from the same country of this priest that you say that introduced modern cosmology or whatever, the Big Bang.
Some sort of okay, that's cool. Anyway,
I mean, do you? I guess you don't care, but I thought this was funny. So who's evil here then? I mean, it's not the Vatican apparently; it's something else. Who's evil here?
I asked you to decide that question. You obviously didn't hear the question. Otherwise, you would have decided based on the question. I wasn't saying that they are evil, but based upon this piece of evidence, you decide. If they're not saying what God says and given a new creation narrative, I guess by definition, you could call them evil. If they're not selling the truth that God said.
Okay.
But anyway, don't want to be rude. I've got to pop up for 10 minutes, but I will be back.
You know where the globe Earth model came from? The heliocentric model?
I mean, yeah, I kind of know, yeah.
Well, where do you think it came from?
Well, the historical narrative is that it's Galileo, Kepler, and Newton really as a trio that really cemented globe Earth, heliocentrism, solar system, all that stuff.
Leave out Copernicus? How dare you?
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
I did. I didn't want to mention Copernicus.
I'm pretty sure back in the day, people who study the stars were called something like astrologers, people who read the stars, like almost some kind of, you know what I mean? And, people who dabble in chemistry or science or physics, they might be called alchemists or mages, you know what I mean? Type of thing, right? So, it might not be the kind of work that, you know what I mean, a church would be, would approve of, right? I mean, if you're a real church, if you believe the Bible, but it seems the church very much approves of all this witchcraft. I call it that. I call science witchcraft. I know.
So what do you think? What do you think about Galileo then? Because Galileo was tried and executed eventually, I think.
I mean, it's a great story, right? It's a great story to show how ignorant people used to be, right? And how awesome science really is, how stupid people used to be, how superstitious, how religious zealots slows down the progress of human evolution and development and progress, into the. So it makes religion look bad, right? And makes basically witchcraft look good. The way I see it, now, where before I just used to call it science. But what is science? When you look into it, there's a whole bunch of mysterious things happening in there that you can't, arbitrary systems, So that's where our idea of reality comes from. Comes from this so-called church that controls the world. They control the Vatican. Controls the world. The world pays taxes to them. And they have created secret societies. One of them is called, I don't know if it's a secret society, but it is a society made up of a lot of members of secret societies, mostly Freemasons. It's called the Royal Society, or the Royal Institution. And that's where science comes from. You know, they teach the 7 liberal arts, right, in school. Well, those are the 7 sacred arts. Of, you know, in the past, when they used to be
7 sacred arts, like the truly sacred or falsely.
Well, arithmetic is everything we learn in school. It's everything we learn in school and higher learning. When you get there, it's arithmetic, which has to do with numbers. It's astronomy, numbers in space, music. What's the other one? I think geometry or there's there's 7, right? What was the other one? Well, anyways, that's what the Bachelors of Arts is, right? I mean, that's what the arts, so where we get this idea of us being on a ball, okay, comes from these groups, from these societies, secret societies who control the world, run the world. I mean, what is America? It's just a bunch of Freemasons that started it, and that's what it is. It's Rome. I believe in the Bible, so I see Rome. When I see the Vatican, when I see America, when I see London or the UK, or those areas, it's all Rome. Yeah, it's all the Western world, and it's all Rome.
So are you suggesting that the Roman Empire never died? It just became religious?
No, it had of course, there's a wound that was healed, right? Everybody marveled at the beast. Who can make war? And now AI, right? Now AI and China are on the rise. You guys heard of the DeepSeek that just came out and just kind of one-shot at everybody? OpenAI and everyone.
I mean, yeah, it tanked the stock market.
So our idea of reality, our beliefs, okay, all came from school, from going to church, from watching TV. That's where our idea of reality comes from, our beliefs. But what do we know about the real world? We know it doesn't match our idea of a ball Earth. So we're not rebels. Just people that kind of woke up,
You kind of are rebels, to be honest.
No, you woke up, man. It's like somebody woke you up, and then you realize you had to survive. Yeah.
In your awakening, you are rebelling against the Vatican. And
right. Therefore, right, whack-a-mole, right? It's whack-a-mole. Stick your head up, bow.
Are you the one who sticks their head out, or are you the one with the hammer?
Well, anyone who speaks truth sticks their head out.
Okay. Yeah, that's true, kind of. Depends on what truth, but yeah.
Yeah. This idea of Christmas, this Christianity, this version of Christianity who believes scientists that the Earth is a ball, a Big Bang or whatever, that they're in space and aliens exist, all come from the Vatican.
Okay, can I ask you? Can I ask the room a question? So hypothetically, let's say I'm a normal, quote unquote, normal person, and I've gone through normal school, and then I went through university and I studied some sort of science, like either social science or natural science, chemistry, psychology, whatever. Okay. Now, if you had to give a number, a percentage of how much my beliefs are a lie, Like, given this fairly normal education, how much of what I believe is a complete lie? Like, how would it be? It would be 80%, 50%. What do you think?
I think the belief in the heliocentric model. I think the belief that you're on a ball would cover, probably a really big part of that, right? Maybe I don't know, 85 to 90%, if not higher. I'm just gonna say 90% to be safe, because what else do you know? Like how else can you perceive the world? How else are you thinking of your day? Every person wakes up and thinks the earth is a ball. How do they go about their day? How do they go about contemplating God? How do they answer questions like, who am I? What is the meaning of my life? What am I supposed to be doing? Like, I'm so lost. Like, how do they go about answering these questions? By thinking they're on a ball, right? By thinking they're on a ball. They're in the middle of space, nowhere. And if you don't believe in God, well, you're probably more terrified of the things that can happen. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson says, right? There are astronauts. You know what I mean? I mean, there are asteroids that are going to hit us. You know, there are asteroids that we don't.
I would disagree with that.
If you thought the Earth was a ball, you'd live your life and all your beliefs would be based on you being on a ball. So that's probably 90%.
So you're saying 10% of my beliefs would be correct enough, and the rest is just bullshit. Someone disagreed with that.
I would disagree. I would disagree.
Go ahead.
Just somewhere deep inside that you don't live on a ball, that you're not moving, that deep inside that water is level, horizontal, and that somewhere 5%, 10% of you believes that I live on a ball, even though everything else is antithetical to that.
So you're saying that my true knowledge deep down, my true level of above the water are truly horizontal or something. My true knowledge of this protects me.
He's saying the hardware. He's saying the hardware, right? Your body knows that it's not moving.
So deep down, I know, and therefore that protects. It protects
intuitively,
other beliefs.
You operate as if it was flat and level, but your beliefs and everything is totally. I'm on a globe. I'm scared. Alien, whatever, what globe brings.
But he's saying the opposite as you. He's saying that the belief that
I would say the exact opposite. I would actually take the exact opposite approach. Like that God exists. You know that you're not moving. You know that if you walk from your house to your friend's house, to your friend's house, you're walking in a relatively straight whatever. But when it comes to the more serious matters, you'll say, "Listen, maybe God's not real because I'm on a globe. Who knows? Or who knows anything?"
I mean, he said his hypothetical was a person that has gone to college, right? Like you got a master's or a bachelor's, like maybe a bachelor's degree.
Master's degree.
A master's. Oh, you're that's even worse. I mean. I think it's true for a person who does, who's not really into the whole, doesn't go to college to get an education, like a builder or a carpenter or somebody who does a trade. You know what I mean? They might know mostly. But a person who goes to college to get educated, like we spoke, the liberal arts. When you go to college, you're going to get brainwashed. T-Dub posted an article about it, where a professor actually said it. If you scroll up, but. They literally teach you. Now if you're going to learn these 7 arts, you're going to go get reprogram your brain. You're getting your brain programmed to believe a certain worldview. Okay, so when you come out, you're all messed up. Indoctrination.
So you're saying that my true belief of the flat Earth has been undermined. So it's not. It has spread anyway, right? It hasn't protected me as the other guy was saying it did.
Yeah, I mean, I take the opposition to the 90%. I take the exact opposite. Only 10% of you is believing the nonsense that you know isn't true. Because if that was true, then everything that you experience would be just an illusion, and you know what you're living in is not an illusion. So,
yeah, no, that's nice, sir. You think I'm only 5 to 10% delusional, whereas Bond saw things I'm 90% delusional.
yeah, like you know what you know, and then the other part is like you know what you've been taught. It's like you know.
Can you check the text chat? I posted an image there, a meme. So
yeah.
See, there's a list there: the Big Bang, evolution, heliocentrism, relativity, gravity. That's a big one. Gravity, space, time, outer space. That's another big one. And NASA. That's another big one. So a lot of your beliefs are based on a lot of these things here, and a lot.
Okay, this image is cool and all, but if I were to, like, NASA is not as big as space time, right? As a lie, if I would say outer space is a bigger lie than NASA.
Well, here's another one.
So
no globe.
it should be
No globe
reversed.
means no rotation, which means no orbit, which means it's not heliocentric. But it is geocentric, which means there's no Big Bang Theory, which means no Darwinism or evolution, which means no missing link, which means it's not random, which means we are unique, which means we are the center of everything, which means it was designed by an intelligent creator, aka God, right? Which means we wake up that God is real, and I guess it's the end of the NWO, I guess, but I think Jesus is the end.
Yeah, but everybody knows these things. Yeah, everybody already knows these things. Right. That there must necessarily be a necessary being to make any kind of statement true.
No,
just a simple act of saying, like, why is this happening to me? Just professes that God is true. Like, if you're saying a reason, not made of material. So, if there's a reason that anything is true whatsoever, right, then that thing would be not physical, because it must exist in order for the physical world to make any sense whatsoever. It must be primary, and everybody knows that when they say, "Why is this happening?" So everybody knows God is real. Not even a mystery.
Yeah.
Is that I don't know anything? How do you know that?
Well, I have a